Hey, it's Nikk Legend, and I just got done with a 3-day workshop this last weekend. And coming into this week, somebody asked me if I was going to take a day to rest, and I thought about it. Should I take a day to rest? I really thought about it, but I didn't feel like it. And I actually recalled a time when I was growing up, because I've always been a workhorse. I've always been someone to do more, go above and beyond. And I remember growing up when I would be that person that would do the extra workouts. I would run on the weekends. I remember every weekend there was a time where I was running 5 to 7 miles on my off day, and I remember people would say, you're overworking yourself, it's going to catch up to you, you're going to burn out. And the truth is, I have gone through periods where I felt burned out, but it wasn't because I was working too much. It's because I was working too much on the wrong thing. And this is something that I think really holds people back, is just this thought of work and how you feel about it. And I wrote down some notes here just because I wanted to give you some practical advice that's helped me get to where I'm at. And number one, it's my perspective on work. How do I feel about work? And I realized a shift about this when I stopped working on something that wasn't important to me, something that didn't have any value, and I started working on something that I saw being long-term, that every single day that I put in work today, I see it giving me value for the rest of my life. And that's the difference. Is if you're working today and it's just 1 hour of work to you, and it's all it is a paycheck, all it is $20 an hour, $30 an hour, $40 an hour, you're going to get burned out quickly. And here's the thing is, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to go and work on your own. What it means is you need to learn how to give value to what you're doing in work, number one. And number two is you need to learn how to connect your long-term goals with your work, okay? So you can be doing work you don't want to do, but if you learn this hack and learn how to actually connect your long-term goals with your work, you'll crack this code, okay? So let's go ahead and actually dive into some tips that you can do to make more money, okay? Here's the first thing that people think about when they think about having more money to invest or having more money to get ahead. They think about cutting expenses down. They think about saving money, and there is some truth there. If you're spending money every single week, every single month on things that are not helping you push forward, and they're things that you put that money there and it's just, it's down the drain, you burned it, everybody has different spending habits. For me personally, I love to buy nice shoes, I love to buy really nice expensive meals that I don't necessarily need, but everybody has those things that they go to. You should cut those out, okay? There's a period of sacrifice. That's step one. That's the thing that most people don't want to do. It's that step one. It's sacrifice, cut out all of the expenses that are not helping you move forward, and do it until you level up, and then give yourself a reward. Most people, they didn't see the years that I was locked up in a room, literally spending, $40 to $50 on groceries a week, micromanaging my budget down to the last penny to get ahead, okay? That is step one. You have to do that. You should identify everything in your life right now that's not helping you, hit your long-term goals, and cut it out, okay? That means the alcohol, the smoking, the drinking, the entertainment, all of it. Get rid of all of it unless it's going to help push you forward. That's step one. Step two, okay? You're going to think I'm a rocket scientist after this step. You're going to be just blown away after this second tip. Work more. Work more. Put in more hours of work. Today, right now, as I make this video, it is 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have been working since 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I can do this day after day. Tomorrow's 4th of July, and sadly, I'm not going to make it home for 4th of July because I have a meeting on Friday. I called my parents, I called my grandma, I let them know, hey, I'm not coming home for the weekend. I love you. Best wishes. My brother went home. I told him, hey, let the family know I love them, but Nick's working. And they understand now because I've been doing this for years. And some people might think that's extreme, and I'm not saying do that. You know, family is extremely important, and you know, I'm going to see them not this weekend, but I'm going to see them the next weekend. They're going to come down and visit me, okay? And we're going to spend quality time together, and it's going to be something where we'll go have a nice dinner, right? But I'm working tomorrow. I actually am going to work tomorrow. That's step 2, work more. So every single time that I've ever leveled up, I went through a period of extreme focus where I was putting in 50, 60, 70 hours a week. Sometimes I would sleep 4 to 5 hours a day and just work. And I don't recommend anybody to do that. There are some times where I definitely didn't treat my body the right way. But the point is I had that extreme focus. You know, now I've kind of learned, you know, I try to get 8 hours of sleep a night. There are some nights where I only sleep 5 or 6 hours, but for the most part, I try to get a full night's sleep. But those periods where I dug in and put that extra work in, it eventually helped me break through that resistance, those barriers, to get to that next income level. And if you look at any great person that's accomplished anything, there had to be a period of intense focus. Whether you're talking about, you know, the greatest people in the world in terms of science, medicine, business, athletes, they all had that intense focus, and that's step number 2. Do what you have to do to make more money. For those of you that don't know the vehicle of how to make more money outside of your job, pick up another job, pick up more hours as the immediate solution, and then go out there and do step number 3. Step number 3 is get educated. Get educated. I spent years, hours, and wasted tons of money trying to do things on my own, trying to figure it out on my own. And I really think about that. One reason why I try to figure it out on my own is because I was afraid to ask for help. Okay? I just wanted to be self-made, and I realized that was one of the stupidest thoughts I could have ever had, trying to be self-made. When there's so many freaking resources on the internet today to help you. Literally, Google has almost every single answer you need. There's tons of people out there that are showing you exactly what you need to do. You just need to research the right information, okay? So that was one of my big faults. The second thing that I was personally afraid of was being wrong. I didn't want to ask for help, and I didn't want to be wrong. So that made me even more afraid to ask for help, because if I said something or had a thought that was just wrong, that was one of the things I was afraid of. And most people are afraid of those two things: asking for help, being wrong, and the last thing is taking a risk and basically, you know, going and putting yourself in a situation where you have to actually dig in and overcome some circumstances that are new, okay? So on point number 3 though, being educated and getting educated, go out there, spend that extra time that you would spend watching Netflix, going out, and maybe it's doing whatever hobby it is you have. It could be video games, it could be watching movies, it could be maybe it's working out. You're working out 2 or 3 hours a day. Cut it down to an hour. Do what you have to do to spend time getting educated on the subjects around making money. So there's a couple different subjects you could study. Number 1, you could study business, you could study trading, you could study just maybe even like side hustles that you could do outside of your job. You can go and get creative with this, but do some research and get educated, okay? The last point is the taking risks. So once you save more money, you cut out the bullshit. You do number 2, you actually go ahead and work more, and then you do number 3, you get educated. This is where the risk comes in. You've done these other steps. You have to start taking risks to eventually have that exponential gain, and this is something that I've never been afraid of. When I went and took my first big risk that I considered a huge risk, it was when I left college. You know, I got accepted at Cornell University, and leaving was one of the hardest things I ever did, because since 7th grade, when I decided I wanted to go to a really good school, I literally spent every single hour that I could during school studying to be a valedictorian and to get accepted to all these great schools. And I worked for 6 years straight to go to that school. And basically, when I decided to leave, it was really hard, because I was thinking with all of those years that I spent trying to just get to that place, and then I was just going to leave the next day. So I took that leap of faith, and I put that faith faith inside myself and inside of skill sets, inside of getting educated, to ultimately become a person that has abilities and skill sets so that I am no longer dependent on an employer, or I have these skill sets that would add value to employers so they want to pay me more money. Okay? So with that, I hope you had some value. This is Nikk Legend. Remember to be great. Make sure you subscribe down to the channel if you want to make your life great. That's what I do. That's what I help people do. I'll see you in the next video.